Okay. I was, as a journalist, of course, I was highly interested in understanding what is going on behind the scenes in the negotiation between John Kerry and Tzipi Livni and Abu Mazen and Saib Arikat and Netanyahu. I wanted to know, so I made a lot of off-record conversations with all of the officials. And I found something very interesting, which was just the opposite of the atmosphere even in Israel, not speaking globally. That actually there is a draft. There is a draft ready. And the draft, generally speaking, is based on the Clinton parameters. And I wrote in that article that it is something like 7-3. What does it mean, 7-3? 7-3, it means that Netanyahu accepted something like 7 out of 10 points. 3, it means that Abu Mazen accepted 3 out of 10. Now, when I published it, people looked at me like, oh, how do you know? It's impossible, and because the atmosphere was that Netanyahu is very tough and he's not willing to any concession. I found out eventually that I was totally wrong, because it was not 7-3. It was something like 9-0. He did not accept anything. He did not want even to discuss the draft. I mean, he was when I say he, I'm speaking about Abu Mazen. Now, after I published it, unbelievably, but it was published in the most hostile newspaper to Israel in general and to Netanyahu in particular, Haaretz. Haaretz is much more to the Palestinians. I mean, the tendency of Haaretz is so pro-Palestinian that sometimes it's really embarrassing. But Haaretz published the real story. The point is that you can see, according to the date, it was just in the days of the tension between Israel and Hamas. It already began, the story. But they published. Netanyahu agreed for the first time to accept the principle that the negotiation will take place on the basis of 67 lines, together with a territorial swap. Wow. Haaretz published it, not me this time. But I published it much before. And it's going on the application readiness to withdraw from more than 90% of the territory. I mean, it's Netanyahu. It's Netanyahu. But people ignore it many times. Even in Israel, by the way, don't misunderstand. It's not that I'm saying now that the international media is ignoring it. Even in Israel, it was totally ignored. And it goes in the New Republic, a very important newspaper. The explosive inside story. The new secure and recognized border between Israel and Palestine will be negotiated based on the 67 lines with mutually agreed swaps. This is behind the scenes story of what happened. But unfortunately, like always, like what happened in 2008 with the proposal of Ehud Olmert, the impression is never that the Palestinians rejected any peace plan. But that's the story, and that's the tragedy of them. I'm a peace supporter. Some people don't like my views. Even here in the embassy, maybe some people don't like my very moderate attitude to the whole. Maybe, I don't know. I'm not a big supporter of the government, I have to admit. But yet I cannot ignore the facts. I cannot ignore the fact that Abu Mazen said no and Netanyahu said yes, generally speaking. And it's going even deeper when, look, we are speaking about March this year, when in the White House, when Abu Mazen was offered, take even East Jerusalem, not that Netanyahu agreed, but Obama told him, look, if I give you also half of Jerusalem, partition of Jerusalem, he insisted on saying no, Abu Mazen. But people just don't know it, unfortunately. This is behind the scenes what happened. Again, it's from the New Republic. And it goes on and on and on, and to understand the whole story and the peace process and why it doesn't work and why. the radicals are empowered among the Palestinians and why Abu Mazen is insisting the right of return, which means the destruction of Israel. Let's make it clear. Even if a left-winger, let's say that I'm a left-winger for the story, even if a left, or most Israeli left will take my word, I mean, we will never accept the right of return. Because it means the destruction of Israel. Equal rights, yes. Totally yes. I will fight for it. For the Arab minority in Israel. But right of return, it means the destruction of Israel under the circumstances of the area of... That's not. I mean, it doesn't happen in any other conflict. Why should it happen in the Israeli-Palestinian conflict? In the Israeli-Arab conflict. That's what I'm saying. And now, what Europe is doing, as I told you, but it's very important, so I can repeat it because it is connected. Europe is funding all the NGOs that support the BDS. And what is the BDS? We can see it. They are supporting 2 states for 2 peoples now.
The two-state solution, as typically expressed, is nothing more than a last-ditch plan to save Zionism.
I clearly do not buy into the two-state solution. It is not just pragmatically impossible now, it was never a moral solution to start with.
To those of you who don't know, Ali Abu Nima and Omar Barghouti, they are the 2 leaders of the BDS. They are the 2 leaders. Now, when you support them, Europe, when you support them, actually you support the perpetuation of the conflict. You empower the radicals, you empower the Hamas, you empower those who are against any kind of solution. I'm pro-peace. I'm pro-peace. I'm willing for painful concessions. Yes, I am. Not all the Israelis, I'm not going to tell you that all this. I support concessions, but they don't support any kind of compromise. And this is the point, that's what people many times don't understand. So why do you support them? Don't take it personally, I'm not talking to you.